The summer, months is upon us, and we don't know what to expect. But the world is watching, and we should recognize that we're not doing it because of that. We're doing it because we're improving our backyard, right? Absolutely. And our community. So that's why we do the work that we do. All right, Hotep. Pre-pandemic, if you look back in the data and you see in 1819, you would see that there has been huge declines in violence and gun violence trends were literally at all times lows. And unfortunately, then came the pandemic. It caught us all off guard. And so it had a tremendous impact, especially in Black and brown communities, where the resources are always slim. When the doors were open and people were allowed to come back out, it almost was like a floodgate was opened up wide. And people didn't know how to readjust. The loss of life, the depression, the trauma, opportunities for getting back into the workforce, all of these things were interrupted.
Yo, this your little twin right here, Billy.
That's big bro.
No, that's your little cousin. We actually canvassing right now. Canvassing is when we boots on the ground, when we hit the neighborhoods, the hot spots. What up, y'all? How y'all doing? It could be certain avenues, corner stores, and that's basically our job, to go out and fish those high-risk individuals out these hot spots. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Where your brother and I'm at? Well, my upbringing was pretty much like anybody else's, with a little bit more kinks in it. My father wasn't around. I lost my oldest brother a couple of years ago to the streets, gun violence, but it was a good upbringing because we had each other. I've been on the other end of the spectrum, of the gun. When I was around 13, 14, to getting shot twice, it's kind of scary, but that's just why I'm able to do the work on the level that I'm doing it on, because I've been there. That's that trouble, man, because the people still calling me though too, man. You doing your programs and stuff?
Yeah, I've been doing my programs.
I don't think any other country has the level of shootings we're having. It's because in America, any disruption to the social structure risks an outbreak of violence because there are so many firearms here in circulation. In an ideal world, every 15, 16, 17-year-old youth in New York City would be less interested in holding guns because they're too busy doing homework and looking at their job promotion and thinking about college. You want people to think about the future, and people who are focused on their own futures and have hope in their future don't think as much about where they're going to buy their next gun.
The governor just declared a state of emergency. Well, we've been in a state of emergency for a long time. To make an announcement about an X amount of money coming into a neighborhood is one part, and it's good news, but it really is not real news. The backlog that exists in the city and state is just horrendous. The amount of, requirements that they put nonprofits through, especially young grassroots nonprofits, just to be able to access the dollars that we need. So the announcements are one thing. The realization is a whole entire another phase.
Cities and communities need an infrastructure for managing all these programs. We have an infrastructure for managing police, very well organized, very well funded. Every city has it. What we don't have is an infrastructure for tying together all the efforts. Organizations have to apply for this money and then demonstrate they can do this work, and they have to develop their own expertise in accounting and real estate and legal services. We make it really hard for neighborhood-based groups to participate in these efforts. So here in New York, both state and city governments have invested a lot more in programs like Man Up, like other Cure Violence affiliates in the city, which there are about 24 now. But the money is still a small sum compared to what we spend on policing. If you add up everything we spend on police, it's about $11 billion a year. That's a billion with a B. So how do you organize an effort to combat violence without relying solely upon police? And the politics of doing that can get rough if we see an increase in shootings or an increase of violent crime, like we've seen over the past year. People get nervous and they turn to what they think they know as a solution.
You need help? When things heated up in the streets and the police came, our thing was, what the hell are y'all doing here? Y'all don't care about us. Y'all don't care about us, so y'all don't need to be here. We got this.
There's an over-policing presence in our communities. The police are being deployed to issues that they don't know how to resolve. Most of the issues that the police have to respond to are issues that are able to be talked down. These are issues that can be resolved without the police having to interfere.
If policing were the best and only way to make a neighborhood safe, if we went up to the Upper East Side and walked along Fifth Avenue, we would see a lot of patrol cars, a lot of foot patrols. We'd see police everywhere. Obviously, police are not the only answer to public safety.
Anytime you can get a kid to change his direction of thinking from negative to positive, and you was the one that had something to do with it, it makes you feel great inside because it might not seem like it at the moment, but you just saved somebody's life.